If you're an avid runner or just love to get some good exercise, the winter may not be an excuse to keep you indoors. But before you decide to throw on those shoes and hit the trail, here are some tips from Dr. Kohli. Dr. Kohli, one of my best friends is a marathon runner, and I love her to death, but she does it regardless of the temperature. Is it bad to exercise when it's cold outside?
You know, it's interesting, but it's actually more efficient to exercise when it's cold outside because you're burning more calories and it helps build your endurance over time. So exercising when it's a little chilly outside is not necessarily a bad thing. However, there are some precautions and some caveats, right? When you're exercising outside, you're at risk for certain types of health problems because of the cold weather and the dry air. And then especially with the snow and all the stuff we've had recently, you could have slips or falls, you could have trips, you could have problems with temperature regulation, especially if you're a little bit older, such as hypothermia. So you can exercise outside, but you have to be safe in how you do it.
Definitely. Okay, so what are the big things to worry about? Is it like deep temperature drops? Is it the slips and falls like you were saying? Like, what are the kind of the big ones that we should look out for?
So, you know, when you think about when you're exercising outside, the way we keep ourselves warm normally when it's cold outside is to put all the blood to our core.
Sure.
But when we're exercising, our muscles also need that blood. So it is really, really important for us to be mindful of the temperature and to be mindful of dressing in layers, covering our head, covering our hands, covering our feet, things that we might not normally do when we exercise indoors. We're breathing heavier and faster, right? So not only is that putting us at risk for the airways going into spasm, which can cause tightening of the airways, especially in people who have underlying asthma, because the cold can trigger the asthma, but we're also getting more dehydrated.
Oh, wow.
So not only are our muscles using now the water, but we're breathing off the water because we're running outside, breathing harder and faster. So we're at risk for dehydration as well. So we want to be careful about that. The slips and falls, like you mentioned, and then sun exposure, which is obviously very beneficial because you can obviously counteract seasonal affective disorder with that. But you want to be sure to wear sunscreen if you're going to be spending a significant time outside.
Okay, yeah, really good to know. Okay, so how cold is too cold? I need an excuse to stay inside, Dr. Kohli. How cold is too cold to be exercising outside?
So 30s, 40s is probably okay. When you're getting into the teens, 20s, you're starting to be at high risk for some of those conditions like hypothermia, especially with prolonged exposure, or if you're a little bit older, or if you're a little bit younger because you can't regulate your temperature as well. Absolute no-no is 0 degrees or less. And then one thing to keep in mind is the wind chill. Because we talk a lot about the temperature, but when that wind is blowing, it can change the way that our body, you know, warms and cools itself. It can change how much air we're blowing off as well. So wind chills that are in the minus is a no-no for sure.
Oof, okay. I'm okay with that. For those ones for sure. What precautions can we take to ensure that we prevent any complications when it comes to this, especially if we're, you know, active and working out pretty regularly inside, or even if we do this outside often?
Yeah, you know, so first things I would say is think about our muscles and our tendons and our joints. So when we work out inside, we might just do a quick little stretch and jump right into the workout. That's the opposite of what we should do when we work out outside, because you really want those muscles warm when they start exercising outside. Because if you're starting with them cold, you're going to be at a higher risk of injury to the muscles, and they're going to have more metabolic needs. So they're going to take away more of that blood flow, take away more of that water. So you want to do a dynamic stretch inside, which means you're not doing a static stretch, just standing there and stretching, but actually doing some sort of exercises inside, warming up your muscles and joints before you head outside. Even if you're not thirsty, you need to drink water before you go for that outdoor run. And the reason for that is because the cold can also change the way our body feels thirst. So you might start getting dehydrated, not even realizing it quite as much when you go outside. Wear that sunscreen, of course, because you can be spending time outside, and then lots and lots of layers. Because you could be getting too cold or even too hot, potentially. If you end up in a pocket where, you know, where you're burning off a lot of heat and you're getting overheated, you want to be able to layer on or layer off and make sure you cover your head.
Okay, great to know. What about, before I let you go, just post-workout? Anything we should do when we come inside from the cold?
Yeah, and you know, when we first come in, if it's been really cold outside and we rush right in, we can start to feel the tingling effects in our fingers, and we don't feel quite as good. So you want to be sure to try to warm yourself up in a sort of a gradual way. So sometimes what I do when I come in from the outside is I actually put my fingers under some warm running water, because that's a nice gradual way to warm up the fingers and actually help redistribute some of that blood, because otherwise the body has to kind of do it on its own. So you sort of of helping the body do that. I do drink a glass of water when I come in from the outside as well. And then be sure again to do that cool down stretch so that you're helping your muscles kind of relax in that same sort of way.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, for all those crazy people out there, you know who I'm talking about. This is the greatest way to make sure that you are doing it safely if you're going outside and running and exercising. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much. All right, well, make sure to email us your questions for Dr. Kohli. Just send your message to mycoco@9news.com and put Kohli in the subject line.